Good morning, everyone. This is the Vermont House Committee on Commerce and Economic Development. It's January 10th, 2025 at 10:35 in the morning. We're all back from a lovely interlude outside. Your fire alarm went off. We're all refreshed. So we're here this morning. I think probably our second committee meeting. Generally, the first year of the biennium, we bring in our legislative councils who deal with this committee with their subject matter. So everyone can learn who they are. They'll discuss what their portfolios are, and we'll continue this on for probably the next week or week and a half of bringing departments and agencies in, as well as bankers and credit unions and a whole bunch of others that work with us. So this is our first group to come in and speak. And Tucker, thank you. And thank you to all our Flying Ledge Council members for joining us this morning.
Well, good morning, Tucker Anderson of Fine Legislative Council. I've been told in the past. Wonderful to see you all again. Welcome back. I actually don't work in this committee very much. I would say probably 2 or 3 bills a biennium when my subject areas touch on issues related to commerce and economic development. So occasionally liquor liability, things like that will rub up against insurance, and I'll come in to talk about those portions of the bill. I'll probably talk to most of you at some point over the biennium about the Public Records Act when records requests come in, because I'm also the records officer for Ledge Council and through extension, most, if not all, of the legislative offices and you all. And I also have the great honor and privilege of being the team lead for the team of attorneys that will be primarily serving your committee. So those are the attorneys that work in government operations, commerce and economic development, labor and employment, libraries, open government, and a whole host of other, not junk drawer because they're all important, but random items that comprise the portfolios of these attorneys who you'll also get to meet this morning. Give you, information about my background, but like I said, you'll only see my face from time to time in committee. So if you want to get to know me, maybe we can connect some other time. Thank you.
Questions for Tucker? Tucker, how long have you been with Legislative Council?
I'm entering my 9th session. So I started, my first session was in 2017 as a law clerk. I clerked for 2 years under Betsy Ann Rask and Damian Leonard, excuse me. Still cold from being outside. So I worked under Damian, labor and employment, a lot of commerce and economic development issues, and under Betsy, government operations. And then after my clerkship was over, I applied to come back as legislative counsel and was thankfully, granted that opportunity to join and be half of the government operations team. And then as time went on and I became more proficient and fine as a legislative counsel, more things got added to my portfolio and I started working with more and more committees. And that's how I find myself here today. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for your service to us as well.
Oh, thank you for the opportunity.
Maria? Morning, Maria.
I'm not the most senior, really. Herb Olson is the most senior. Maria Royal. So I've been with Legislative Council for 24 years, and I had the great privilege of overlapping for a brief time with Herb when I started. So some great mentoring from him, which I appreciate, and I'll probably still call upon, given his work experience since leaving our office. So my subjects are banking, insurance, property and casualty, not health insurance, and securities. Those are the 3 topics that I'll be covering in this committee. Also, as part of my portfolio, I do utilities, broadband, so I'll be in the Energy and Digital Infrastructure Committee a lot as well.
Is Michael Bluton here yet? Hi.
Am I allowed to hand it to you? What are the official rules here? Okay, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So like maybe just very few preliminary things about the subjects that are just very big picture, just to orient you a little bit, banking, insurance, and securities. So insurance is particularly interesting because under federal law, the McCarran-Ferguson Act, it is regulated at the state level. What that means is there's a lot of activity on insurance every year. As you can imagine, there are a lot of model laws and acts so that the national companies can do business in all states. So states work collectively through different organizations to try to keep their laws pretty similar, but there is some discretion and differences at the state level. Banking, there are a lot of federal regulators. Banking doesn't come up very often here because it's not unlike insurance. It's primarily regulated at the federal level, not entirely. But there are a lot of new technologies, fintech companies, payment processing, a lot of digital applications where financial transactions occur, money services. So there are a lot of emerging activities and issues in that area, which you'll hear about. And then kind of a banking securities, I'm not actually sure because I think it might be a little of both. Cryptocurrency, some issues about how it should be regulated. Obviously, it's a big discussion and that's happening at the federal level and in states as well. So those are just kind of some of the big issues related to those subjects for your situational awareness. And
Also deal with captives as well.
yes, captive insurance.
An example of state level regulation.
Yes, yep, absolutely. And so DFR, the Department of Financial Regulation, almost every year has kind of an omnibus bill that they'll ask to be introduced through a sponsor. That includes, some of it's just housekeeping and some of it's policies that they think would be in the public interest of the state. And that bill will come before this committee. You'll hear from DFR. They'll explain the rationale, what they're looking to do, but you'll have that legislation to review in the coming months for sure.
He's working on that
I'm
draft right now.
literally dropped it off with editing before coming here. So, but not quite there yet. Yeah.
Any questions for Maria?
Interesting stuff.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
He's been here longer than I have.
Oh.
Yeah,
This is my 21st year.
I'm so old. Oh my gosh, okay.
Not as old as her.
Yeah. And not as varied experience either. Sure.
How often do issues with securities come up?
There are a lot of issues that come up with securities. It's kind of regulated through the Securities Exchange Commission, but investment advisors and broker dealers, they're licensed in the state, they register with the state. So there's definitely some activity. Yeah.
Regulatory authority in the banking world falls with DFR if the banks are chartered in the state of Vermont. We've seen a lot of banks flip their charters and they're now nationally chartered, federally chartered, so they're regulated by the feds. But we still do have some state chartered banks, and that also goes along with the credit unions as well. But we have both state, federally chartered. There's advantages and disadvantages to both, and we've got to be, if we want to keep our banks that are chartered in the state and the credit unions, we want to keep them regulated here, then we have to be careful of what kind of regulations we put into effect, because they could very easily just flip their charter. And the insurance, as Maria was saying, all states have their own insurance regulations, but we have two different organizations, NCOIL, which is National Conference of Insurance Legislators. And then there's also the NAIC, which is National Association of Insurance Commissioners. And so the NAIC brings about model law and changes to statutes and additions so that we can stay pretty much in step with the other states. And then COIL works on the same issue, but some of the same issues. They're not totally always in lockstep with each other. But that way, by the states doing that, as Maria said, the insurance companies can operate in all 50 states without having to make major changes in each state. And it makes it much easier for them. And it keeps the Fed away from the regulation. It's much better for our business community, much better for our citizens if they're regulated in the state and not by the federal government.
So I imagine there's broad similarity between states.
Yes.
Does Vermont have any, apart from like its captive insurance industry, any defining or new or distinct characteristics, things that are unique about the way it's?
Well, captives are a little different. Captives, not every state has captive insurance. Vermont is the #1 domicile of captive insurance in the country, now in the world now. So we have, that's kind of a niche that we have. And it's because of our strong regulation and the availability of us to talk with the regulators and with the industry as well. And that we're very nimble, we can make changes when they need to be done. And the strong regulatory regime that we have here in Vermont actually brings in the best captives that are out there. So we've been, we're well known in the industry in the state of Vermont for our captives. And we'll have, they'll be coming in at the end of the month to talk with us and to bring a few captive insurance companies with them and have those discussions with us. So to be able to ask questions of any, learn more about captives. Any other questions for Maria? Thank you, Maria.
Welcome. Look forward to working with you all.
Morning. Rick Sagel, Office of Legislative Counsel. A lot of new faces here. So I started Leg Counsel last October 2023. So I'm pretty new. To the team, I'm senior, but to Leg Counsel, I'm still relatively new. I moved here from Texas in 2023 for this job, actually. This job was something that looked really exciting to me. And turns out it is exciting. I love it. I love living here. I love working here. You will maybe get sick of me in this committee. I will be here a lot. My portfolio is almost a mirror of what this committee handles. So I'll talk about that. My primary areas are workforce development, economic development, commerce, business organizations, information technology, cybersecurity.
Yes.
Maria. Why? Yeah, we're still talking. No, I think we're talking about that. Consumer protection is kind of a ongoing between me and you'll hear from Cameron Wood, one of my colleagues. We're kind of sharing that. So as far as what I would cover would be more of the IT, tech, businessy consumer protection. Cameron's portfolio is more about housing, and there's a lot of consumer protection there as well, and he can talk about that. So that's probably 90% of what I cover. There's a few other things like trade, tourism that occasionally comes up in my portfolio as well. So some of the major topics that may come up this session, this biennium, privacy, data privacy, social media regulation. Those are, AI, that kind of stuff. These are big topics. Should the government regulate it? To what extent should government regulate AI? Those kind of things. I have no doubt will come up this biennium. And I would be your contact point for those types of discussions or information or bill requests. Happy to answer any questions that you may have about my portfolio or me.
It sounds like a very interesting portfolio you have in terms of scope of things. A lot of things kind of new, to all of us. So glad to have you.
Yeah, a lot of I mean, new to everybody. These are, especially AI, these are very new technologies that aren't really regulated by very many states or the federal government. So
You and I need to get together. I run an IT business.
So there you go. There you go.
We got a lot to talk about.
There you go. There you go. How do you pronounce your last name?
Nicholas.
Nicholas. Okay, very good. Yeah, I look forward to working with you all, and I'm as available as I can be. I think you have our staff information, the directory, right, with my name and email. If you forget it, it's on the website as well. You can reach me that way as well. So looking forward to it.
Look perfect, Texas.
You asked that very suspiciously. It's the part of Texas that just got snow actually yesterday. It snowed in Dallas, Fort Worth. So it's kind of North Texas. It's a weird shaped state, but kind of a couple hours from the Oklahoma border.
Just ask my wife has family, Texarkana.
Texarkana, okay, yeah, East Texas. Yeah, different. That's like a different. They probably have East Texas accents, which is a very different accent from the rest of Texas.
Yours is rather metropolitan.
I try. I don't think I've ever actually taken an accent. Not intentionally. It's never really taken to me. So I definitely don't have a East or West Texas accent. Yeah, I don't have that drawl.
Y'all.
Did I say y'all?
Just jumped right up.
I try. Yeah. At least I didn't say howdy. I could have said howdy. I didn't do that this time. All right.
Thanks, Rick.
Yeah.
There's a bill that I'm circulating around that Rick wrote. It's produced from a task force that we've been working on for a couple of years of creating the executive director for workforce strategy and development. In the governors under the government. So Herb has it now, but it'll circulate around and
It's a good bill.
give everyone an opportunity to sign on to it, read the bill if you have questions. But the committee has an interest in it. We'll be taking it up, in the next couple of weeks probably. So Rick will be in to talk to us about it.
Nice meeting you all. Thank you. See you soon. Yep.
Morning, I'm Sophie Zadatny with the Office of Legislative Counsel. And I'm this, I guess, almost senior because I've been there since October. And so I'm not the newest person at this point. I do have an accent. I'm originally from England, but I've been here a long time. So sometimes people think I'm from some other Anglophone country, but originally from England. My portfolio is labor and employment. I also do military affairs, veterans, and Native American issues. But so I probably won't be in this committee as much as I'm in general and housing, but I will be happy to see you all when I have the opportunity. Labor and employment is historically been my background when I was in private practice as a lawyer. I spent 7 years on the plaintiff side and 7 years on the defense side. So I've had a lot of experience from different perspectives dealing with different issues. So I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Be dealing with us on the UI side of.
Right, unemployment insurance, yeah. So I do work as comp, all those, and 7 different labor statutes and stuff, yeah.
Know yet what kind of things that the department will be bringing to us. We should know another week or two. Then we'll pass that on to you and bring up their asks and have those discussions with Sophie in the department as well. Sophie, I'm going to talk about your other life before you came to
So my immediate life before I was Ledge Council is I was Chancellor of the Vermont State College System. Before that, I was General Counsel with the, so again, doing a lot of employment and labor related things in that role. And then I've also migrated. I got, as I mentioned in a previous committee, I was actually emigrated into Texas because I got married down in Texas. And then my husband's a university professor, so I've kind of moved around with him. So been in Illinois, West Virginia, and then Vermont. So headed north.
Stabilize the state colleges. They're on a good path now. Hopefully they continue that way as well.
So
Questions for Sophie? Thank you.
very much.
Cameron. Cameron's certainly not someone new to this committee.
Good morning. My name is Cameron Wood with the Office of Legislative Counsel. I am the junior member of this team, also junior member of Legislative Counsel at this point. This is my 10th business day on the job. I started last Monday. I'm not necessarily new to Legislative Counsel, though. Quick story about my background, and then I'll talk about my portfolio. I'm originally from Alabama, but I've been in Vermont for 11 years now. It's actually 11 years this January. It's hard, it's gone by really fast. I've enjoyed every minute of it. The cold does not bother me yet. 11 years. Yes. So I went to my undergrad and law school at the University of Alabama, but I did my last semester of law school, I did at the Vermont Law School as a visiting student. And at that time, I actually did kind of an internship here at the Office of Legislative Counsel, working under Michelle Childs. And then after I moved here after law school and passed the bar, I did two sessions as a clerk for the office. And my supervisors were Michael O'Grady and Betsy Ann Rask. So similar to Tucker, I had the benefit of working for Betsy Ann, which was great. So I really enjoyed my time here. From there, and for the past 9 years, can't believe it's been that long ago, but for the past 9 years, I've been with the Department of Labor. I started there as the director of the Unemployment Insurance Division, and I maintained that role for 9 years. And then for the past 2 years, I was their Policy and Legislative Affairs Director. So started working in some of the other policy areas of the department. That is why I am not new to this committee. I've spent a lot of time here over the past 9 years, and I will say I've always enjoyed my time in this committee. So no pressure, but I think you all have a high bar to live up to. And no, it's always been fun in my experience being in this room, even when talking about some difficult and contentious topics. I've always appreciated the working relationship, and in my new role, I have no doubt that will remain the same. So. As I said, this is only my second week with Legislative Counsel in this capacity. My portfolio is housing is probably the biggest topic there, but I also do some consumer protection, as Rick mentioned. So I will be in this committee, covering some of those topic areas, and then I also will be handling retirements and pensions. It's kind of the other big topic under the umbrella. So. With that, I look forward to working with you all. I will mention now and probably frequently, as I just kind of walked through, I do not have a history in housing or a ton of experience in the areas under my portfolio. I'm working as diligently as I can to try to get up to speed as quickly as I can, but I have no illusions of being an expert in these fields come May. So. I will be learning a lot alongside you all in these areas, but I like to think of myself as a hard worker, so I'll be doing my best to make sure I'm providing effective counsel to you all throughout the session, but I'm just mentioning it now. There might be a lot of, I don't know. I need to look into that and get back to you. And I just appreciate your patience, and I'm really excited about the opportunity to learn, and we'll do that together. So. Awesome. Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
You all for joining us this morning. It's a good introduction for our new members. Appreciate an introduction to you all as well, who we are. And we look forward to working with all of you. And sure we'll have a great session. There's going to be some hard work, but get through it together. So thank you for joining us. Well, I think we're done until 1 o'clock. So we'll have joint fiscal office will be in at 1 to chat with us about what they do for us, this committee specifically, and then at 1:30ish we'll have IT come in and just speak to us about what kind of services they provide for us and what they do, and some of the no-nos that we shouldn't do when we're online and things like that. So, any questions up to this point? What did we? Oh, that's right. So we're done till 1, but I would like you all to take a look at the other committees, kind of see what they do, because we name a liaison from this committee to all the other committees. And so your responsibility will be to contact the other committee, find out who is your liaison, who you talk to, and to kind of look at the legislation that's going in those committees and to make sure that there's nothing that overlaps with our jurisdiction. See if there's things that we may want to take a drive-by, so we don't ask for the bill officially, but we may take some testimony on it to better understand what they're trying to do. Sometimes we do take possession of the bill as well. So take a look at that of all the other committees that are the other 14. See what you have an interest in, and you may, because there's only 10 of us, I'm not going to take one on, but they have to double up on some of the committees.
Like a list of 3 or 4 that range that we think make sense or are relevant to.
Top two.
Okay.
Yeah. And just see what you have an interest in, see what their subject matter is.
I already know my two.
See how much time we have left this afternoon. And then, if you've had time, you can let us know, and if you still want to think about it over the weekend, then we can talk about it on Tuesday. Any questions?
Do be clarification if you would like. You mentioned take possession of a bill. There's only one committee that's the lead for each bill.
Yeah, so the speaker, they send bills to different, like we have H-24. But there could be subject matter in that bill that concerns this committee.
Right.
So sometimes we'll just ask for whoever the reporter of the bill is going to be to come down, explain the thinking of the committee and what we're doing. If we're agreeable, that's fine. If there's things that we see in there that they haven't looked at but concerns us, then we may ask possession of that bill. So then when it goes to the floor, and it'll be sent. We'll ask it to be sent to this committee so we have official possession of it.
Is that generally a temporary thing that it then gets sent back to the original, or it's not meant to be temporary?
Usually it'll come here, we'll work on it, and when we're done, then we'll bring it to the clerk's office, it'll go on the floor. And it could be an amendment from us, if we found something in there. And we'll work with the original committee to make sure that it's agreeable with them as well. We don't want to go on the floor and fight with another committee. We don't have to. So.
Thank you.
And just to add to that, anytime there's money in a bill, so it costs money or it's a tax issue, then it would leave our committee and go to either appropriations or ways and means.
And that's
then-
automatic.
And that's automatic. That happens. So every time we send a bill to the clerk's office, they determine whether it needs to go to one of those committees. So sometimes, it goes there even if there isn't money because it's adjacent to something financial. And so, but only one committee can have possession of a bill at a time. And then every committee that had possession of the bill will do some kind of a presentation on the floor to the full body as part of that.
Yeah, that's another thing you didn't talk about either is as we work on bills and we vote bills out. Hopefully, one of you will want to be a reporter so that you will report on behalf of the committee to the floor. So you go out and explain the bill to the full body. And so boy, it's good to really listen, try to do your best to understand. You'll work with Ledge Council, you'll work with others that may come in to testify on helping you form your explanation to the rest of the house.
And we'll support you.
Yeah, we're here to support you.
Withering interrogation from.
It could. But you can always call in, you can always say, I defer to the chair.
Yeah, you can yield.
See that in action yesterday with the 150 to 149.
So we ask that each member takes on a bill. Get your feet wet. Also, at the end of the session, we could wind up with committees of conference. So there's disagreement between the House and the Senate. So there'll be 3 members from the House, 3 members from the Senate that will be appointed to committee of conference. Then you kind of get together and try to hammer out your differences and bring it, and it goes back to the floor in the House and the Senate. And hopefully there is agreement and it goes on to the governor. So. But that's what just up there for right now. Just keep it in the back of your mind because we're not there yet. Anything else? Is there anything else? Any other questions? Okay, we can go off live.